But this is a very average bowling side. If you remove Bumrah, India is just another team when it comes to playing spin. I think Jurel would have been a better player at this stage rather than Rohit, the way he's playing.
Honestly, for me, I will only judge him after Rohit Sharma and Kohli retire, and I don't know whether he'll get that much time or not.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Cricket Banter and Insights. We have Varun and Rishabh with us today, and we'll be going through the third test review at GABA. So, Varun, what were your thoughts in the game?
I think, of course, we got a little lucky with the rain. Um, I think it was a good decision to actually win the toss and bowl first, but it was a little disappointing that on the first day in overcast condition and good pitch to bowl, we actually were not able to take any wickets. So I think at the end of the first day, we bowled 13 overs, and Australia didn't lose even a single wicket that day. Right, I think they came out with a clear game plan of seeing out Bumrah and kind of playing the tough conditions before kind of capitalizing on the other bowlers when the ball gets old. And that's exactly what they did. So if you actually see till the 35th over or 40th over, they had scored only 100 runs. Right? It's only after the 40th over it was the ball got old when they actually started to accelerate the scoring. And this is what happens, right? You see the top three batsmen that they have. I think all of them scored like 20 or 60 balls or something like that, something similar, right? Their job is clearly defined that you have to see out the new ball, you have to see out Bumrah, and then probably players like Travis Head, players like Smith, players like Marsh are going to come in and capitalize, right? So it's a very good strategy that they followed. I was really impressed by the way they actually applied themselves out there. Got a great score, 400, and I think in the in the rainy conditions, in a stop-start match after scoring 450 odd runs, it was very difficult for Australia to lose from there. Coming to the second innings, India's innings, I think we did exactly the opposite. You can see how Gill played away from the body. You can see how Kohli went for a ball way outside the off stump. Um, I mean, you can see how again Rohit Sharma struggling to leave the ball, just nicking again a ball which is on the sixth or seventh stump kind of a thing, right? So I think our top order, middle order kind of lacks the discipline. It was only Jadeja that played really well, and to some extent KL Rahul. That also KL Rahul got very lucky because Smith dropped his catch early on I think early on the third day or something like that, right? So I think we got very lucky there. At that point, KL Rahul was in his 30s or 40s, something like that, right? So ended up kind of scoring some great runs, making a good partnership with Jadeja, which kind of saved us the game. And of course, Jadeja and Reddy also had that partnership. Again, kudos to Bumrah and Akashdeep for those last 30 runs that they scored as a 10th wicket pair. Otherwise,
I
if
think
we
that
would have
was
got
that
the.
was that was the highlight for me because when
Yeah,
you
yeah,
see those two literally, right? Like I thought
yeah,
ki follow on to abhi hone wala and we're gonna lose the game. But
correct.
like it was so good to see those guys. And I don't see Akash batting as a number 11. I think this is the last game I see him batting as a number 11.
So technically, he's not a number 11. He plays way better than Bumrah and Siraj. Correct. He should have come at number 9. But for some reason, the management had a brain fade. They sent Siraj. I don't
But
know
it worked.
why.
It worked for us, right?
Yeah,
Whatever
yeah.
it is, it worked for us.
Fair enough. So, yeah, one of the many brain fades that this management is having, or this team is having in these test matches. But luckily, it worked for us. I think, as you said, UV, one of the most exciting parts of the test match, at least for an Indian viewer. And honestly, if we would have not saved that follow on, right, we would have been in a tricky situation. Although it rained a majority of day 5, but that pressure would have been on us to save the test match, right? And once we kind of avoided the follow on, it was kind of mostly ending towards a draw. Australia tried to score very fast on the fifth day, lost 7 wickets or something. In doing that, a lot of people kind of give that kind of appreciation to our bowling, but I think it was just Australia trying to hit out and kind of score very quick runs on a pitch that was doing up and down, right? So yeah, both the factors played into it. But yeah, overall, I would say I wouldn't mind the draw, taking the draw away from this game. There were a couple of positives for sure, but a lot to work on for this team, I feel, especially in the batting. So yeah, and of course, like we'll of course discuss Ashwin as well a little later. A legend of the game retires. I was hoping he didn't, but yeah, let's touch on that in detail a bit later.
Rishabh, what was your view on the game? And can you comment on how good Travis Head has been against India throughout? Like he's literally the scourge of the Indian cricket team right now.
आई थिंक वो बोलते हैं ना हमारे हिंदी में कि वो सर सर के बोल रहा है. आई थिंक ट्रैविस हेड इज दैट ओनली राइट नाउ. I think the World Cup finals was won. I remember the WTC Championship final. There also he scored 100. Year two winnings, two Test matches, 200. So I think Travis Head is becoming one of those pain in the backside where you can't really get rid of him. On the thoughts of the Test match, I think I am a little disappointed with certain parts of the performance. I think one was the toss was lucky that we won and we bowled, but bowling's if you take out Bumrah from this side, you're left with a very average bowling side because Siraj gives you that one or two spells of 4-5 overs, then he tires out. Akashdeep is new into this arena and traveling to Australia for the first time. It's never easy for any bowlers. Nitish Reddy, a medium fast bowler. If it was Hardik Pandya, then we could have expected something different. But this is a very average bowling side if you remove Bumrah. But hopefully that in the next Test match, we've got about 8 days. I think Shami should be back. That's what we are hearing from the NCA, that he's bowled 40 overs in one of these Vijay Hazare trophies. So I think he should. The workload is back. I think should be joining back. Should be joining in the fourth Test, but nothing concrete as of now. Coming back to the Test, I think if our youngsters need to step up for the likes of Yashasvi and Shubman needs to step up because there's a lot of pressure on KL Rahul because he's in the opening stand. There's only been a century partnership that was 200 in the second inning of the first Test. Otherwise, they're not even reaching out till the 10th over without any wicket loss. So I think Yashasvi needs to buck up. Shubman needs to again get back to his very best when he last time traveled to Australia. I am I was happy that Australia also declared on day five with 90 runs on board. They were trying to get a result out of a Test match. I think that's important. This WTC championship has made it very interesting for teams to get a result out of it. But over all in all, it was a good Test match in terms of testing themselves into trying conditions, overcast conditions. And like last time when we traveled to Australia, we saved a Test match and we went on to win in Melbourne. I think Hanuma Vihari and Ashwin yeah, they both saved the Test match and then we went to Melbourne and won that Test match. So I think if we follow that script again, I think it should give them a lot of confidence. But again, hoping it's another 8 days, and we are hoping for Shami to come back.
So a couple of questions to you guys. If at the start of the series, people would have told you that after the first test at Wacker, after a pink ball day-night test at Adelaide, and after another test at Gabba, if India-Australia would be 1-1, would you have taken it?
Considering the next Test match is at Melbourne, I would have taken a 1-all draw. Because Melbourne is pretty much like a low bounce track, fits the Indian style. And if we have to take an advantage and go to the WTC final, I think that would have been the best part because If you were 2-1 down, chasing at Melbourne becomes very difficult. Getting a result there when you're playing under pressure becomes very difficult. But if you're not under pressure, then it becomes very easy. So I think I would have taken after 3 tests. But yeah, we need to kind of improve on the areas that I've already spoken about, bowling and batting as well.
So for me, right, if we would have not lost the New Zealand series 3-0, right? If you would have say kind of it would have been 2-1, right? Or whatever, right? It would have been like anything like a 2-0 or like even like a 1-1 or something like that, right? Like I would have been okay with a 1-1 goal after the third test match. But because we came into this series needing to win 3 matches, actually 4 matches, but now we need 3 matches and a draw, right? So now to get to the WTC final, we need to win both of our remaining games, and I think that puts us in a very tough position. So if given that we lost the New Zealand series 3-0, I would have wanted us to have won at least 2 games out of the first three. I know it's a difficult proposition, given the venue and given the fact that Adelaide was a pink ball test match. But I think that there are a couple of factors that Australia are even worried about, right? Like they are worried about playing Bumrah, right? I think that I think if you see like Rishabh mentioned about the bowlers, right? I feel it depends a lot on how the captain and the bowlers are communicating with each other on the pitch, right? The same bowlers actually, you look at Siraj, it was Bumrah, Siraj, and Harshit Rana, correct? In the first innings, in the first test, we actually removed them pretty cheaply and we bowled like a decent line and length, right? I think Rohit Sharma, for some reason, is losing the plot, and for some reason, his communication with the bowlers, based on what kind of field he's setting, and those bowlers bowling to that field, is not happening. There was this one instance in this test match where we had a fine third man, especially for Travis Head, right? Siraj is not bowling there, correct? And suddenly Rohit Sharma removes that fielder, breaks him, brings him somewhere else, and the next ball that Siraj bowls is a bouncer on the off stump, which Travis has actually plays from where exactly the fielder has been moved, right? So, like the basic things are not happening or are happening incorrectly. For some reason, um, I don't think the bowlers are responding to Rohit Sharma, or Rohit Sharma is actually, in terms of his fielding position, in terms of everything, he's responding more than kind of being proactive with things, right? Like imagine when you have actually bowled 40 overs and the opposition has got 100 runs, right? You know the next 40 overs are a bit of a phase where batsmen are going to dominate, right? And then again after the 80th over, we'll get the new ball, and that's when we can pick up the wickets. And that's what happened, right? Once we got the new ball after the 80th over, that's when Bumrah picked up 3 wickets at the end of the day, right? And that's exactly the game plan, right? So the idea should have been, okay, there are 40 overs remaining. How can we do something that in those 40 overs, we don't let Australia get away with it? We don't let Australia get away with this game, right? Instead of
Slow the
actually
game down.
conceding, sorry,
Slow the game down.
slow the game down. Make sure you are bowling to plans, right? If you're actually bowling like a 5-4 field where 5 fielders on the leg side, 4 on the off side, then you can do like a bodyline strategy with the batsman, right? Like England does that, Australia does that, right? Where they put 3 fielders on the deep, one fine leg, one square leg, one midway, kind of a half fine leg, square leg, middle player, so that it's for the pull ball, and one is like mid wicket kind of thing. So you have to bowl to your fields, you have to bowl to a strategy. You know Travis Head is weak against short ball. You have to kind of come up with proper strategies in that 40 overs. Even if he would have restricted Australia to say 3.5 runs per over, right? Nothing more. Like I'm not even saying 3 runs per over, right? 3.5 runs per over. That was 140 runs approximately, right? 240 going into the 80th over, and then we pick up like 3 quick wickets. Australia are 350, 360 for 260, 250 for 7. right? And at 250, 260 for 7, we can wrap them up at like 320 instead of them letting them go till 450, right? So these are the strategies that the captain has to think about. This is not like these are very basic things. Like, it's not like, it's like some toru thing that I'm saying. Like, it's like just common sense stuff, cricket test match stuff that teams play out there. So I think we miss a lot of tricks out there. For some reason, Rohit Sharma is not able to kind of he's not the person who thinks smartly, right? He's fine. He's a decent captain. He's pally with all the players. But sometimes you need a captain who's very swift on his feet, who thinks very sharply, right? Like Dhoni used to be like that, right? Like, he used to be very kind of cunning on the field. So I think Rohit Sharma lacks that. For some reason, the application is not there. And even with the bat, the application is not there. Like how I was saying, like, um, you need to play out the fast bowlers. You need to kind of see them out and then kind of attack when the ball is old, right? When the bowlers are tired. So for some reason, um, yeah, a lot of work needs to be done on these parts.
So coming to my next two questions, did Rohit Sharma coming back actually impact us in a bad way? Because Bumrah in the first game led really well. And the second, did the wrong person retire after this game?
I completely think so. I mean, UV, you're with me on like couple of WhatsApp groups as well, and I kind of echoed that thought on these WhatsApp groups that, if you look at Ashwin, his contribution with both bat and ball has been tremendous. At least in the past 3 to 4 years, I don't know, especially with bat as well, right? He has saved us so many games. You can think recently of the first Test match against Bangladesh. We were 140 for six or something like that, 5-6 something, and he came and scored 100, and kind of we ended up making 300 runs as a team in the first innings. I think and you remember even Rishabh was mentioning about that match with Hanuma Vihari and Ashwin kind of seeing it off. That legendary series wouldn't have been legendary if Ashwin wouldn't have saved that game along with Vihari, right? You can think of so many occasions where he has actually performed with the bat being a bowler, right? So I think and I think I don't have this stat handy, but I'm sure his record with the bat would be much better than few top or the middle order players playing for India right now in the
So
He's
batting
got
quick
about
department.
three,
trivia,
he's
yeah,
got
quick
about
trivia question.
3,200 3,200 runs.
500 runs or something in test matches. Like, it's crazy, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
um
And six,
and
seven hundreds. Six, seven
yeah,
hundreds as well.
yeah,
Six
and the
hundreds and 1450s.
yeah, and the importance of those hundreds, literally all of those hundreds would be coming in a phase where we are in a tricky situation, right? When you're coming at 7 and scoring 100, it's always when you are in a tricky situation. It's not when you are comfortable, you're not under pressure. It's always under pressure. So I think very important, and I think we will kind of miss him when we are playing home games as well. I feel, um, and from that perspective, I felt that, he had at least a couple more years in him where he could have probably not traveled with us to overseas for overseas test matches, but at least um, kind of being part of our team for the home games. Because at home we typically play with two spinners, right? So I think it could have been him and Jadeja, him and Washington, or him and Aksar, or whatever, like combination that the team management decides to play. So yeah,
So there was this line that Simon Dool said after the third test match got over and we lost 3-0. That India is just another team when it comes to playing spin. Like, if you look at if you think about it, the earlier generation. So let's take Sehwag, Gambhir, or Dravid, Tendulkar, Lakshman, Dhoni, and maybe Kumble. So seven, top seven. I think six,
Ganguly.
four. Forgot Ganguly. Sorry, Ganguly. So let's take seven. Let's exclude Kumble, but let's include Ganguly. You would say six of them would play. Dhoni is not that great player of spin, but otherwise everybody used to play spin. You count that number now. Who plays spins well? Kohli, no. Rohit, no. Um,
no one.
no one. And
KL Rahul little bit. KL Rahul, I would be like, okay, fine, he's six
KL
on
also
ten.
doesn't. KL, if so, in the last 4 5 years, what I've understood is they focus so much on playing fast bowling, no, that they've just forgotten how to play on these spinning tracks. And that's just done. That's why we, if you think about it, you beat the likes of Bangladesh, you beat the likes of South Africa, you beat the likes of, but one decent team puts some sort of an application that New Zealand did, and then you're done. So
Yeah, yeah.
in terms of playing spin, we've become a little mediocre. That's where Ashwin came into the picture, and Ashwin and Jadeja both can take you from, like what he said, from a 140 to 6, 140 for 6 to about 300. They can push you, and they take that total. So the first innings looks a little respectable. Now that Ashwin's not there, you obviously have Aksar, or you have certain other spinners. But again, there's no variation. Both of them are left arm spinners. Both of them give the same. Both of them bowl pretty much similar only. I think a poor decision, considering the fact that the next test match is at Melbourne, and that in by the end of day three it starts turning. So I don't what went wrong in the last test that he had to take that call. Apparently he was going to retire after the pink ball test. What made him wait till the third test? Rohit Sharma convinced him, but he didn't pick him. I didn't get the logic of it. To the question that you asked, is Rohit Sharma coming back has been a boon or a bust for us? I think it's been a total bust. I think irrespective of whatever you say, who played the first test match in the absence of Rohit? Like, who got out?
We
I don't.
had,
So it was Jurel
yeah,
and
no,
Jurel.
no, Jurel came in lower down.
lower down, yeah.
Opening was
No. So
Jaiswal,
Jurel and
irrespective.
KL Rahul, and
Yeah,
then Padikkal came one down, and
Padikkal came one
then
down, and yeah. So
one more
basically,
I
player was
think.
there.
Padikkal and
Yeah,
Jurel went out,
Padikkal and Jurel went out.
and Gill and Sharma came in.
I think Jurel would have been a better player at this stage rather than Rohit. The way he's playing,
I
Jurel at
agree.
least scored about 40. He
I
scored about
agree.
40 runs in one of those innings, so I think he would have been a better addition. I think what Varun said was also right. I think he's lost his proactiveness. There were a couple of times that even I didn't. He's letting the game drift away. He's letting those crucial moments in the test match. He's just letting it drift away. If you remember the first test match, we were what 150 all out. First day, Bumrah just bowled a good 10 overs, and we are 60 for they are 60 for 7. If we were 150 today in the third test match, I am sure you will be down at 180 for 3, and we'll be literally trying to get the match under our hand. We are literally, gasping for air at that point of time. So I think he's lost his proactiveness. I think it's a lot to do with the fact that I think even he's thinking retirement. He's 34 now. In the test matches, there's not too much of performance that he's been able to give. There's not really too much. The baseball type that worked in the Indian environment worked out well, but not anymore. So I think that's also affecting his performance. And I think if these two test matches don't work well for him, I think we'll soon see a much major turnaround in terms of Rohit going. There could be some sort of consideration that even Kohli might just go for the newer generations to blood in, because the new Test Championship starts with England away, so it gives them time to blend in. So I think that we've got to look at the next two Test matches and the result of it.
So
See,
just a
honestly,
correct,
I feel it's
uh,
time for Rohit Sharma to retire. It is kind
me, and
of, I
I'll just
think,
say that Rohit Sharma would love to be 34 because he's almost 38 now.
Oh,
yeah, yeah, it's
he's 38. Oh, then he
He'll
should.
be 30. He'll be 38 in April.
yeah, it's
Then
it's
I think he
about
should. Then
time.
yeah, it's about time.
It's about
It's
time he retires. I mean, even like you saw as a captain, right? You're losing to New Zealand at home. You've lost the first test, you've lost the second test, and then you're coming out in the media and saying, "Ye to hota hai, it's okay." That's not the kind of reaction you want from an Indian test captain who has lost two games at home against New Zealand, and then you're coming out and saying, "Yeah, this happens." No, this doesn't happen. You are the only captain to have lost this badly at home since in decades. Like it's unreal, right? So that whole attitude where ki chalta hai, that chalta hai attitude doesn't work, yeah. In at least in Indian cricket, it doesn't work. Chalta hai attitude doesn't work, yeah, because your youngsters are going to learn like such an attitude from you. It doesn't kind of that chalta hai attitude is very poor. It kind of basically, in fact,
No, I think
becomes an excuse for the players to not perform.
no, I think the careless attitude is not the main problem here. I think we, I think he's kept. I think if you see the dressing room around, I think it's a much happier place. It was any which is happy, but he's got gotten the unit much more cohesive that way. But I think his the way of the tactical analysis, the tactics of his, are just becoming a little too outdated. And now you
There are no
can't.
tactics, Rishabh. There
हाँ
are
मतलब
no
जो
tactics.
no मतलब there's no proactiveness. That's what I said. There's no
Yeah.
proactiveness. If you see head coming, if you see if you're three down at 35, you get Bumrah and you make sure that the fields are there, just there. Bowl him, just let the ball come in. Let's not take anything away from his stumps. Just get the ball in towards his stumps, and he'll get out because he's not that. He plays with an angled bat and away from his body, so he'll get out. That's not the point. The fact of the matter is he doesn't give him that. Last match also, when he turned up, Bumrah bowled only 1 over and then Siraj turned up. You've got to give Bumrah 3 overs and he gets in 2 overs, so he gets anybody out for that matter. Even Smith also. So you just have to. It's proactiveness, and he's lost that. And what's the reason we wouldn't know? What do you, Yuvraj? Because you are asking the question, so I'll ask you this. What do you think about Rohit's captaincy? And second, if I have to say that you've seen the last two test matches when Rohit's turned up, if you had to make a change to Bumrah again, would you?
In all honesty, I think I am a laggard in terms of wanting senior players to retire because I hold players like Sachin and Dhoni with great affection, right? When you see them growing up. And from our generation point of view, I don't think that attachment is there with someone like a Rohit Sharma. But at the same time, I would say that how we started this series, it was so refreshing. I think Bumrah did a great job in the first test, but I think it's a function of Australia learning and applying themselves from the second test onwards. Because if you see the way they collapsed in the first test, after that they took a conscious decision कि यार whatever happens, we are not gonna lose a wicket cheaply to Bumrah. Because aside from Bumrah, there's no one else who can kind of create havoc in their batting order, right? And I think in our case, it's been the exact opposite. Where in the first game, we were trying to be more, I would not
Pragmatic.
say docile. Yeah, pragmatic is the perfect
Pragmatic.
word.
Pragmatic.
Yes. And then from the second test onwards, I think their attitude kind of, like Varun said, a little casual attitude crept in. कि चलो ठीक है, अब जो होगा देखा जाएगा. Which is not really the way you kind of prioritize things, right? Like we are actually very lucky that Hazelwood is now injured. And I think it really gives us an advantage moving into the Melbourne and Sydney tests. But at the same time, I think so. If you ask me, my view, I would definitely want Bumrah as captain. I would still want Rohit Sharma around the squad because of a feel good factor. He's someone who is not, he's not. So I will say he's not someone who creates an issue. Like even if you look at the
Nuisance, yeah.
overall, yeah, he's not. He does exactly. He doesn't have nuisance value around him. So
Hmm.
I would not mind having him around the squad in Australia, but definitely I think Bumrah would have been a better option to lead after the first test. Maybe he doesn't play, maybe he's part of the squad, whatever reasons that the Indian cricket team has to give, that's fine. Another big challenge which I face here is it's not just the captain's responsibility to take all the on-field calls. It is a management group responsibility. And if all these points are like, I'm pretty sure at the end of the day, after lunch, they are having a lot of discussions here. What is going right? What is going wrong? Maybe a 10-minute review, maybe a detailed review at the end of the day. But somewhere along the line, maybe the management team at the back end is not supporting enough, or they are not looking at these gaps in a particular manner, or maybe if they are giving those gap analysis to Rohit, he is not taking action on it. So I think we can't really blame only Rohit Sharma for this. I think there is something wrong in the entire setup. So we have to look at
But
that aspect as well.
but UV, see, the thing is, these days test match session is 30 overs, right? And
Mm,
a lot moves in that 30 overs, right? Like
correct.
for example, told you like the game moves so much after the 40th over to the 80th over, right? That's 40
Correct.
overs. Literally, when you are out there and the wicket goes in the 40th over, No one from the dressing room is going to come and tell you what to do. It's the
Hmm.
captain's in the next 20 overs before the lunch break or before the tea break. It's the captain's duty to actually take the calls, right? So
Haru, tell me this, if in that situation, like there would be a drinks break in the middle, right? Or there would be a, let's say, a gap wherein there would be some messages being
very
relayed from the
difficult
management.
to very so if it's a batsman playing, right, it's very easy to pass the message ki, play a little defensively, see out the balls or whatever, like, but when it's a fielding, right, it's very difficult to send a message out as to what to do, because you can't
Hmm.
communicate as to what field to set out there for different bowlers in the middle of the
Hmm.
drinks break in that 5 minutes kind of a thing.
Fair enough,
And
fair
it's
enough.
like it that's where the captain's tactical knowledge, the captain's ability to maneuver the field, think on his feet, right, actually plays such a vital role. So,
Hmm.
and I think you hit the nail on the head when you said, like, you can see the pragmatic approach that we had in the first test match. And why is that pragmatic approach? Where how we saw KL Rahul play, we saw Jaiswal play. Jaiswal, who's a very attacking batsman, he played a very pragmatic innings where he was actually leaving so many balls outside the off stump, right? And then we saw Padikal came and play a very like a sedated innings, setting up the launch pad for someone like Kohli, Pant, and Nitish Reddy, right? I think this attitude stems from the captain, right? If someone like Rohit Sharma comes out and says कि अरे he has an attitude कि नहीं चलो खेलते हैं जैसे खेलना है खेलो kind of a thing without actually play like जाओ आके मतलब मारो जैसे खेलना है खेलो kind of a thing, that kind of an attitude. You saw the same thing happening against New Zealand in the three test match where we didn't apply ourselves. We are playing rash shots, getting out on balls which we are not supposed to get out on. The same thing happened in the second test match. The same thing is happening in the third test match. Where why do you think Gill coming out on the third ball that he's playing, literally third ball that he's playing an extra like a cover drive or to a ball which is way outside off stump. Why? Right? Like, and same thing is done by Kohli. Same thing is done by Rohit Sharma playing a ball on the sixth stump, right? So I think that attitude of the captain actually makes a massive difference. I feel.
So only one input I'll add on this is key. Let's say I am part of the Indian cricket team management. I'm Gautam Gambhir or I'm part of his staff. I would actually have maybe 20 scenarios prepared. Okay, fine. Let's say before the series starts, if we bat first, if we bowl first. If we bat first, if this is the position that we are in, what we are going to do. If we bowl first, this is the position that we are in, what we are going to do. Because this is their job, right? This is what they are being assigned to the team for, to have that complete blueprint of how we want to play every game, different sessions, different circumstances, different bowlers, different attacks, different field positions. So that's what I mean when I say ki one is before the test starts, second is at the end of every day, and the third is that tactical maneuvering during the sessions if it's not going as per plan. So I can completely buy your point that during the, let's say, the 5 minute break in the middle, it's very difficult to completely give a tactical plan. But ideally, a tactical plan should exist prior to the game, wherein everything should be
Agreed.
there on paper.
Agreed. And you need to have a tactical plan for every batsman out there. So if their head is
Exactly.
coming out, you need to know how to bowl to head. The plans need to be set
Correct.
beforehand, right? Like,
And if just one more input here, Gautam Gambhir Gautam Gambhir's team KKR faced Travis Head's team SRH in the
IPL
knockouts,
final.
both in the IPL final, even in the previous knockout, right? So the both the times Mitchell Starc got him out in the same way. In the first game, Harshit Rana got him out in the same way. So there is a clear roadmap of how you can get head out. But somehow we are not following that roadmap for some reason.
see, it depends a lot, right? So you see, you are absolutely spot on when you notice that fact that Stark got him out, Harshit Rana got him out, and I think that is the key role. Like, I also feel that Harshit Rana was in the team because I think he bowls really well to left-handers, right? And Australia has three left-handers in their batting lineup, which is Khwaja, Travis Head, and Alex Carey, right? In the first test match, first innings, it was Harshit Rana who got Travis Head out, right? So if you're seeing that kind of a blueprint, correct, then why are you not playing Harshit Rana, and why are you not? What is going wrong with your tactics in the second test match and the third test match then? So the blueprint is there, right? Harshit Rana again got him out in the first test match, first innings, right? So I mean, it's I think something is not clicking probably then at the back end. I don't know what's happening. Also,
No,
I
I
feel that it's a sorry, Rishabh. Just one last point before I hand it to you. Um, I think what happens is that Gautam Gambhir, Rohit Sharma, and Kohli, right? Uh, I don't think they share an equation of a player and a coach, right? Because when these guys came in, they were more like teammates, right? Now it's very difficult for anyone. Look, where Kohli and Rohit Sharma, they are like, okay, this guy Gambhir literally played with us, and now he's coming here and giving us directions, kind of a thing, right? And I think कोई कितना भी बोले, correct, there's always some kind of a thing where um, the way they would have listened to Dravid or the way they would have listened to Shastri will be very different to how they will respond to what Gambhir tells them. Correct? People can deny this, people can argue about this, but वो automatically हो ही जाता है. Correct? So I think that is also a little bit of a thing, and I think we will start seeing the actual team India play against Gambhir only after someone like Rohit Sharma and Kohli actually are kind of moving on from this team. Where there are youngsters who are there who are kind of where they will listen to Gambhir basically, and what he has to say, and what he has to say will actually go, kind of a thing. So yeah,
yeah,
Rishabh.
I think I don't rate Gambhir as a coach. I don't. I think he did LSG. I think he did LSG and then KKR, right? For a couple of years LSG and then 1 year of KKR. I think
Correct.
you don't get that tactical nows. I genuinely don't think. I think Rahul Dravid did it for 5 years continuously at RR. Then he came to India. He did it. I think he did it for 3 4 years, and then he's gone back to RR. I think that sort of consistency.
Dravid actually led our under 19s as well. I think that's
Yeah.
where the
So
entire transition
yeah.
happened.
So that's the thing, right? It, I feel like nowadays the coaching job is just being handed out for fun. Like, I think it's not really. I think like Kirsten was the only, like, the last one who was successful. After that, in terms of foreign coaches, I think only Kirsten was successful. Then you look at Shastri, and then there was Dravid. Um, I ideally would have loved Lakshman into this. I
I
would have
think
added Lakshman into this because the moment you get someone senior as Lakshman into this side, the whole chalta attitude just goes out of it. Like you said, the whole chalta attitude, na, even Rohit would have taken proper notice of it. Ki, look, this doesn't work here because Lakshman's already there. So I think, and and Varun rightly said, it's too much of a teammatey vibe right now. Kohli's played with him, Rohit's already played with him. So वो unless and until some players see Gautam Gambhir as a role model, it'll never work.
so. Just on Gautam Gambhir, I feel I think it's a little too early to kind of judge him. That's at least for me. I wouldn't judge him so early. I'll kind of give him some more time, um, and I feel that it's a different kind of a personality to what very different kind of a personality to what Dravid was there, right? Dravid is more like a calming influence, chill. He'll be methodical. It's all about the process with Dravid. I think Gambhir is more about wearing his heart on the sleeve kind of a person, right? And I, the good thing I find about him is that he has that attitude where he wants to win. He wants to win, and he wants to win each and every game, right? And then I have kind of listened to a lot of interviews that he has done. I have kind of, even when he was a player, when he was a coach, even as a KKR captain. So um, followed his career, but I feel that he was a good cricketer. He was a thinking cricketer as well. Won two IPLs with KKR as a captain. then kind of won them IPL with KKR as a manager. I feel we should give him a little bit of a chance. Very different as a personality as from Dravid is. So probably the team might take a little bit of time to kind of get used to that kind of a personality. And as I said, like once Kohli and Rohit Sharma move on, then I think he will have more command on kind of nurturing these youngsters or kind of working with these youngsters in the way he actually wants them to work. So yeah, I mean, I just feel that way. I think it. Let's give him a little bit more time before we kind
No,
of.
I think I'll
One,
disagree. I'll just Yuvraj, just I'll just complete it. I think I'll disagree on that. I think Rahul Dravid was more of a calming influence, but but he had that punch. Like there was this punch. Like you know that it was a steely fight. It's a steely fight with Rahul Dravid. Like he looked calm, but he gave you a good fight.
Yeah, yeah, for
With
sure. See, nothing taking away
but
from
with
Dravid.
Gambhir,
Dravid
no.
was a legend, and he will
But
always
with
be a
Gambhir,
legend.
no. No, but the problem with Gambhir is it's like that Shahid Afridi and his wala video. Like he hit a four and then he's onto your face. Like at that point, okay, you can be a little aggressive, but you've got to use your head also. And honestly, chalo, let's not even talk about the white ball because white ball takes care of it itself. You've got 6 test matches till now. You've just won one. You've just won one and you've lost four. And there's no pattern. There's really no pattern. He's not gotten anything different. Like when we needed a good opener, Rahul Dravid got Jaiswal. He literally pushed for him, and you can see the efforts. You can see the rewards that we are getting. Like KL Rahul, sorry, Jaiswal is now like our opener for the next 10-12 years now. He's not done anything different here. He's only got Harshit Rana. That's it.
No,
And
I
that
mean
also
Nitin
Yash.
Tredi seems like a good prospect that he is kind of these guys have selected for this tournament. I
But
feel
that's also
let's
because
give it.
Hardik's not ready. But that's also because Hardik's not ready. I think if Hardik was
Hardik will never be part of the test team because
no,
he's
I
too
don't
injury
think
prone.
no. Hardik wants to be. Hardik is just that. I think he needs to set himself into the white ball in terms of the bowling structure in the ODIs because in T20s he can bowl four, but in the one days he can't bowl 10. So I think he's getting to that level where he can start bowling 10, and then once he starts bowling 10, then he might just be considered. It's a matter of time. I think it's a matter of a year and a half. But that's the thing,
I
right?
doubt I will see Hardik playing test matches for India, but okay.
What do you think,
Uh,
Yuvraj?
no,
he
so
doesn't have the
couple of things.
fitness.
One is I think it's always good to have differing opinions, and everyone is entitled to opinions. That's why we have discussions. And in my particular case as well, I think I feel too early to judge Gambhir as well. Like a person who has created an impact, I think you have to give it time. Like Varun rightly said, once he has his team in order, like if I give a football analogy, let's say you have Ruben Amorim, he will get his team in order for Manu. Then you can see the true Manu under Amorim, right? So I think similarly, when Gambhir gets charge of his team, and then in the next, let's say 6 months to a year, we will have a better understanding of his team, number one. Number two, with regard to uh, what was the other discussion regarding which we were sharing the views on? One
Any
was Gambhir.
mm, my I don't
That's
I
it. Just the Gambhir. We are discussing about
Gambhir thing.
Gambhir.
I
Okay.
think
No, there was one
maybe
more topic which में जो आया था. Think
No, Rohit Sharma. Whether it's time for Rohit Sharma to
that we
retire. I
discussed.
think you
That we
already
that
discussed.
commented
we
on
just
that.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
just
yeah. That is discussed. Correct.
but again, like I said, if you can just enlighten me the impact because I
Oh,
just cannot
no, it's not
just can't
about
see.
no, no. So let's say I'll give you an example from the T20 IPL tournament, right? So you look at some coaches having some players who they have a great impact on. So let's say you look at a Sunil Narayan. Sunil Narayan, before the season they won the IPL, was absolutely hopeless for a couple of years. But him
True.
getting again an opening chance and getting specific instructions on what Gambhir wants him to do and him executing those instructions makes a big difference. Similarly, there are
Yeah.
other players in and around that lineup. Let's say a Rinku Singh. when you know your role clearly and when you're executing that role to the T, that's when your coaching talent kind of comes out, right? Like if you play a Rinku Singh as a number three batsman, and let's say he scores great in two innings, but the team ends up losing most of the games, it's not of any value. So whatever resources you have, how you kind of get the best out of that resource is what makes you a good coach or a bad coach. So I feel too early to judge him right now. I completely agree that there's a frustration, of course, like from any cricket fan, Indian cricket fan's perspective, losing 3-0 at home to New Zealand is absolutely unacceptable, right? But that's where we are. And luckily for us, given the other results, we still have a slight chance of making
Outside
it a
chance.
yeah, outside
See
chance.
that.
I would
See that.
actually say it's a very slight chance, but yeah, let's see what happens now.
See, that's the whole point, right? Like you think about you go back a couple of months back, and before the New Zealand series started, we
So
just needed
I just remember the topic which I wanted to share. So early shout out. I have a feeling that in the next 10 years, Ashwin's gonna be a great coach for our country.
that
Yeah,
could be
could be.
that even I have
See,
a thought that even I
any
have.
any player I feel who is smart, right? Like who has a thinking brain, right? Has a great potential to, and I think will do a great job. I feel as a coach. I feel one person that we missed out on as a coach, or we gave a very little brief stint to that person was Anil Kumble. I think he had the potential, but just not the kind of the correct setup because of the background politics that were happening
In
at
And
BC.
that
maybe
point.
even temperament, Haru. I think just as a like how Javed has a different temperament, right? I think Kumble was it's like my way or the highway type of approach. And I
Yeah.
think
So,
it
so
doesn't work always. You have to have a little bit of tempered approach. कि ठीक है चलो, you want things to be done in a particular manner, but it can't be a hard line.
So it's think of it this way. Think of it how when you look at on field, right? Like think of it, India playing under the captaincy of Dhoni and transitioning into the captaincy of Virat Kohli, where both the people are very like they have very different personalities, right? As you said, Dhoni is that one captain who had that very calming influence, very decision oriented kind of a captain. You'll never see him, like kind of lose his calm or control on the pitch and transition it to someone like Kohli, who was absolute passion and aggression on the pitch. And if you see India's record on the both, right, it has been really good. Of course, limited overs. I feel ODI T20 we did much better under Dhoni. Test matches we did exceedingly well under Kohli, right? So I feel it's just a transition that takes time. And how you make the team around that individual, correct? So I think um, and again, like with Anil Kumble, what happened was there was a whole nexus of Shastri and Kohli happening at that point where Kohli really wanted Shastri to be back as a manager, and then he kind of outright refused to kind of acknowledge Anil Kumble as a coach and all of those things happening. So I feel that the whole setup was not kind of conducive, or the timing was not conducive. I feel it was more like a correct person, wrong time at that moment. I felt for Anil Kumble. Let's see. And I feel in terms of timing with Gambhir also, I think BCCI has kind of got it a little wrong. I felt they should have appointed him only when Kohli and Rohit Sharma after they retire. Because as I said, like teammates work, ex teammates and coach. I think it's a not that a great recipe for success. I feel so. Yeah.
I was
Actually,
just
Usko,
complete.
I'll just make a little bit of an adjustment to that statement. You can't have two alphas in the team. I think that was the
Yes.
big problem with Kohli
Yes.
and Kumble,
Kumble.
and
Yes.
similar problem with Gambhir and Kohli and Rohit Sharma. So if you
Correct.
look at it in a
Correct.
different manner, you can play with, let's say, a Javed, or let's
Yes.
say someone with a better, let's say someone who's able to kind of guide you instead of instruct you. Even if he's your teammate, you wouldn't mind accepting that person as the face of the operation, right? So I think that is where a little bit of diplomacy or a little bit of like,
Pragmatism.
yeah, that matters a lot.
like we said in the previous stream, right? एक मयान में दो तलवारें नहीं रह सकती.
Yeah,
Correct.
So
yeah,
yeah.
that.
Any last?
Rishabh, Rishabh, you wanted to
Yeah.
say something?
So,
You were
yeah,
sharing
yeah. So I
something.
was just going to complete that one point. I think if you just run your mind a couple of months back when the New Zealand series started, and then you looked at the WTC table, I think we just needed to win what two maybe
Four.
we just needed to win. No, we just needed to win the New Zealand series, and we would have been okay. Like we wouldn't need to even if we drew a couple of test matches here in Australia, we would have been just fine. We would have just qualified for the WTC. The impact and everything in in the white ball cricket, I no doubt. I think he and Sky make a great pair in terms of T20s. I think that's the perfect pair that I feel because Sky Gambhir lets him do his thing, and Sky pretty much knows what he's doing. The immediate impact had to be there. Like even after you lose the first test match, you know you can do. You know there was systematic problems in the team. There were systematic problems. So I I don't I like y'all say give it time, but I think we can I can you can be rest assured that this will not, and this is me being very pessimistic, but I think this Gambhir stint will not last long. This is not going to be that because I think it hinged on him coming based on getting a WTC championship also. And from pretty much a shoe in the final to not even qualifying for it, it all rests down to Gambhir. So I think the stint is also not going to be too long. There's already been scrutiny of him in India. Like let's not kid ourselves. There is a class of people who said that I don't think he's cut out for the job also. Not all Indian players are going to cut out for the Indian job, Indian cricket team, and I think he's one of them. He can be a good IPL coach. He can be a good under 19. He could be an under 16. He could be good that way, but uh, it's a different ball game. That's why you're the likes of Ravi Shastri, Gary Kirsten, taking names who've been successful. I can't take the unsuccessful. They cut out because they know how it works. It's people management, and I don't think he has that skill anymore. I never thought he had it, but if he did have it, it's not showing here. It's not showing here
I
in the
think
in this job.
let's see what time has to say. And
We'll
The
have this conversation when he gets fired. We'll have this conversation. No worry.
sure,
So I again feel that probably Rishabh, see, probably you are right. He might get fired, right? But I again feel
He
it's
might.
the wrong timing rather than I think, right. I feel again, see, we have Champions Trophy coming up next in the ODI, but again he
Yeah.
has Rohit Sharma and Kohli playing in that ODI team. I'm sure we are not going to do that well. Like I know this is a wrong combination to have Gambhir, Sharma, and Kohli playing in, like kind of in the pura khichdi ekdam. It's a recipe for uh, for disaster basically. Not a disaster, but it's not a recipe for success. I feel so. I feel honestly, for me, I will only judge him after Rohit Sharma and Kohli retire, and I don't know whether he'll get that much time or not. So probably you are right. Probably like he might get fired.
Yeah, I mean the
Uh,
Champions Trophy is kind of a write-off right away. I think the Champions Trophy is a write-off. Like I can only see us winning if and only if he just says like just go and just believe in yourself. I think if I'll just come just make this statement and then you can move ahead from this. Uh, the last time that we traveled to Australia, the last two series we won 2-1, right? So both of them. So the first time it was Ravi Shastri, right? The 2-1, the first 2-1. That time it was Ravi Shastri and Kohli. Brilliant. Like they did everything that was told. Like just go, believe, take it. Pant said, I enjoyed playing the most under Ravi Shastri because he gave me the confidence to do anything and everything, and he would be okay with it. The next one, I think it was Rahul. I think Rahul was there, but then again, Rahul and Ajinkya did a brilliant job. Kohli wasn't there, but Ajinkya did a really good job. Fabulous, calm, but a little more punch in the. We were not favorites to win that series at all, let alone a game, and yet we won that series 2-1. I don't think there is anything. There's a template of playing under Gautam Gambhir and Rohit Sharma. There is no template, and that's the frustrating part. There is no template, and that is what's disappointing me. And I just hope that we might just do in 2 minutes in the last two test matches we should be able to win this game and qualify for the WTC championship. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. So that's my take on it. Like Yuvraj said, everyone's entitled to a different opinion. But my opinion on Gautam Gambhir doesn't change anymore.
I think it's too early to decide. I feel he's been elevated too soon. He's been a team mentor, but he's never been a coach at any of the teams that he's been at. And at best, he has that experience of T20 cricket, not even ODI cricket. So I would have preferred if he had more of sort of a learning period at a lower level than just elevating him to be the coach of the Indian national team. It has its own challenges, but I think it's too soon to still decide how good or bad he is. It's been what, two test series, right? So
Three,
yeah,
yeah.
It's too soon to realize how bad he is. There's no good.
that is all.
There's no
That
good.
is also, of course, that is one possibility, but it's just too soon to give a verdict on that. The logic didn't make sense to me, for sure. But now that it's done, I think we need to give it at least 6 more months to see how it goes. Like until the end of the England Test series, maybe.
That's I think that's about when is it? That's in May, June.
That's in June,
June
July.
only.
So 1 year. Yeah, you can't
Great.
give a coach less than a year. Yeah, like I mean, doesn't make sense, especially with the fragmented nature of the cricket calendar and like with different players playing different formats, right? Like it's not like the same set of players are playing all formats these days. So
Manan, any takeaways, like a brief 1 minute takeaway from the third test match?
from the third test match, it was fun to see how excited our team was when we avoided the follow-on,
That's a
and
good point.
it will be. I expect it will not be. Maybe in 4 or 5 years, Jasprit Bumrah may just turn out to be an all-rounder and not just a bowler, the way he's going. But jokes aside, um we got lucky with the rain. Otherwise, this could have been another defeat, a thrashing defeat. And all like the less like you can't say too much more about Jasprit Bumrah, even if you would want to. And yeah, I think the biggest shock of the Test match was at the end of the game when Ashwin retired. So nothing new for India to sort of know from this game. Like things were sort of similar to what they have largely been for the past 2 3 months.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Hit the like button, subscribe, share. Do let us know your thoughts on the third test match. Do you think appointing Gambhir as a coach was the correct decision? Your thoughts on Gambhir as a coach? Your thoughts on Ashwin retiring? And what do you think about Rohit Sharma and Kohli continuing in the test team? Look forward to hearing from you guys, and we'll see you next time.